WMCX 88.9 FM presents Comebacks of Big Bands. This week, Harry James and his orchestra full of music makers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A happy Wednesday evening. This is Michael Freeman welcoming you direct from the Plangier Center here at Monmouth University for another hour-long musical showcase. If you're listening for the first time because of that promotional flyer and post, allow me to welcome you to Comebacks of Big Bands, a musical variety showcase of several stereophonic big bands of the 50s to the 80s and sometimes even the 90s. I've had this show going here on 88.9 FM for about a month now, and it's something I look forward to at the end of each week for the rest of the cold season. Bands I have already showcased so far include Les Brown, Lawrence Welk, and Don Glasser. I'm on tonight in observance of tomorrow night's basketball game at the Ocean First Bank Center, where Monmouth will be taking on Elon with live WMCX coverage starting at 6:45. Tonight, we are featuring Harry James and his music-making orchestra with Sonny Payne and Buddy Rich on drums, and several other musicians and singers that made this orchestra one of the most famed of all time. His band blossomed during the 40s and continued playing gigs and recording albums into the 60s and 70s, and a lot of record labels could not keep up with his consistently high demand. And whenever you saw this band in person, there were only two singular objectives among spectators: have fun and dance to the music. Performed live in 1970 during his European tour, this song is mainly remembered by Sly and the Family Stone. But fast-paced arrangements like these from a swinging orchestra are some of my favorites, especially those that sprinkle a little rock and roll and disco. If you listened last week, you'll notice that the band I showcased sounded a lot like Seinfeld on their album. Let's keep the music going with the live performance from 1967 featuring Sonny Payne going ham on the drums, and it's one of their old favorites, Blues for Sale. Sonny Payne in this performance of Blues for Sale is available to watch on YouTube. If you're interested, I say look it up. Notice how fast he goes. He knows the entire drum set on the top of his head. We have several live gigs featuring Harry James and his band as the show goes on tonight. We continue now with an appearance at the 1978 Newport Jazz Festival in Saratoga, New York. And here's another original song of theirs, The 2 O'Clock Jump. Something I like about bands like these is that they take an old song of theirs and revamp it into something people in the future can dance to, for example, adding electric guitar, or simply doing modern-day covers of the big hits of the time. Here's a surprise pop example, and it was initially a bonus track on the 1968 album, The Golden Trumpet of Harry James, and it's Frankie Valli's big hit song, I Can't Take My Eyes Off You. No surprise right there. Harry James expands on his abilities on trumpet. Once I first heard this, I knew I would regret not adding this song to tonight's program. This is actually my first time playing a song on WMCX by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I've heard a lot of catchy renditions of this song. The big one has 55 million views, the original. Our next song is one of the band's last performances from 1983. Live from the Holiday Inn Holidome in Denver, here is the ever-popular Pink Panther theme featuring Ed Easton on tenor saxophone. Ed Easton joined the band in 1973 and was given the nickname Wild Man because of his abilities, especially in this performance. You're listening to Harry James and his orchestra, chock full of music makers and variety songs. This is Michael Freeman reminding you that Comebacks of Big Bands is usually on here every Thursday night from 8 to 9 o'clock p.m. right here on WMCX. I'm on tonight in observance of the basketball game tomorrow night, and next Thursday night there will be another at-home basketball game, so I will be back next Wednesday, March 5th at the same time, 8 o'clock p.m., where I will be showcasing Billy May and his orchestra, a man that has worked with several well-known performers and TV shows. Now here's another live Harry James performance from 50 years ago, 1975. Jeannie Thomas does the vocal, and here is Proud Mary. This was another performance I couldn't ignore. The big hit song by CCR was surprisingly performed by a lot of orchestras in the 70s. Last summer at a 4th of July festival in Ocean Township, I heard this song in person, and it made me remember that Guy Lombardo performed this song in New York in 1971. I hear the recording is out there somewhere, but is still not shared yet. I would imagine it sounds a little similar to this live gig, but A lot of people on social media say it, quote unquote, blew the original right out of the water. Now here's a Harry James sample from the 1970 Reader's Digest album, Up, Up, and Away, and it's a taste of honey. Woo! I actually like this cover of the popular song by Herb Alpert. A lot of brass action to keep the people dancing when needed, and the trumpet solos keep the variety and the pace. Let's keep going now with an appearance at Carnegie Hall for the 1974 Newport Jazz Festival, featuring Joe Cook on baritone sax, Quinn Davis on alto sax, and Mel Kunkel on tenor sax. They're going to cook for this whole performance, so I hope you guys are hungry. The band plays another hit of Harry James, Ultra. Then after that, they play a song from last week, Duke Ellington's Take the A Train.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Great sound quality for 1974, but at the same time, not surprising. There are way better live recordings from the 50s from several other bands. Now we're going to introduce Mr. Ernie Andrews on the vocal for 2 songs, and we start off with the live 1968 performance of Frank Sinatra's song, which is going to be used at Yankee Stadium, That's Life.
That's life, that's what people say. When you're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change my tune when I get back up on top in June. That's life, funny as it may seem. Some folks get their kicks stepping on dreams. But I know I'm not gonna let it get me down. This old world keeps on spinning around. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, then a king. I've been up and down, over and out, but I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. No, I can't deny it. Sometimes I think of quitting, but my heart won't buy it. And if I didn't think it was worth one single try, I'd catch me a big bird and I would fly. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. Well, I've been up and down, over and out, but I know one thing. Yeah, each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. I can't deny it. Quitting, but my heart won't buy it. Well, now if I didn't think it was worth one single try, I'd roll up in a big ball and I would die. Roll up in a big ball and I would I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. Well, I've been up and down, over and out, but I know one thing. Well, each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. No, 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 I can't deny it. Quitting, but my heart won't buy it. Well, now if I didn't think it was worth one single try, I'd roll up in a big ball and I would die. Roll up in a big ball and I would die.
Ernie Andrews is proving himself in this song, how much of a good showman he is. For those just tuning in tonight, we introduced Ernie Andrews singing with the Harry James Band in 1968. The great Frank Sinatra song is Life, a good once-in-a-while song that reminds you that life is not always sunshine, peaches, and cream. Here's another song featuring Ernie Andrews live from the Riverboat in New York City in 1966. And it's a big song by the Beatles, Can't Buy Me Love.
I'll buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel all right. I'll buy you anything, my friend, if it makes you feel all right. Now, I don't care too much for money can't buy me love.
Go Ernie Andrews. As we get closer to the end of our show tonight, this is Michael Freeman for WMCX reminding you that you're listening to Comebacks of Big Bands, a musical variety showcase on several big bands that lasted through the era of stereo, the 50s to the 80s, and sometimes even the 90s. I'm usually on here every Thursday night from 8 to 9 o'clock p.m., and tonight we are showcasing the King of Trumpets, Harry James and his orchestra full of music makers. Next week, there will be another home basketball game here on 88.9 FM, so I will be back next Wednesday night, March 5th, to look at Billy May and his orchestra, who worked with several performers of his day, such as Frank Sinatra, Peggy Lee, and voice actor Mel Blanc. That anticipated Looney Tunes movie is finally coming out in a couple more weeks, and I can't wait to go check it out. It's called The Day the Earth Blew Up, and it has a lot of positive ratings. Now here's a song I remember from The Sandlot, even going into the Blues Hall of Fame and many other movies. It's still a popular song today, and even a top song for baseball games, Green Onions. You play ball like a girl. One of my favorite scenes from The Sandlot, the Harry James Band cooked on this popular song. Those trumpet solos never failed to show the maestro giving it all he's got. Even in the early 1980s, he gave it his all. And in 1983, before his passing, he recorded a few songs for Japanese singer Kei Marimura's album, The Man I Love. It was known to be his very last recording session, so I'm plucking out 2 songs from that album, the title song, The Man I Love, and I Only Have Eyes for You.
Someday he'll come along, the man I love, and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And when he comes my way, I'll do my best to make him stay. He'll look at me and smile, I understand. And in a little while, he'll take my hand. And though it seems absurd, I know we both won't say no. Maybe I shall meet him someday, maybe Monday, maybe not. Still I'm sure to meet him one day. Maybe Tuesday will be my good news day. He'll build a little home just meant for two, from which I never roam. Who would you? And so rest above, I'm waiting for the man I love. Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy or bright, 'cause I only have eyes for you. Dear, the moon may be high, but I can't see a thing in the sky, 'cause I only have eyes for you. I don't know if we're in a garden or on a crowded avenue. You are here, so am I. Maybe millions of people go by, but they all disappear from view.
Harry James was only 67 years old, passing away a few months after recording these in 1983 and marking himself as one of the greatest big band leaders and trumpet players in history. Great job by Miss Kei Marimura on the vocal. Our last song for tonight's program is Harry James' greatest known song of all time, becoming a big #1 song upon its very first release. Best for last this evening. It is still a wildly popular song today, sometimes known from TikTok, and is also associated with the 2019 Marvel Spectacular Avengers Endgame. Now, folks, don't spoil it. Helen Forrest is going to do the vocal, and I'm sure anyone listening tonight remembers it's been a long, long time.
Kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I dreamed about you, or just how empty they all seemed without you. So kiss me once, then kiss me twice, kiss me once again. It's been a long, long
WMCX, my name's Michael Freeman. In observance of the basketball game next week, comebacks of big bands will return next Wednesday night, March 5th at the same time, 8 o'clock p.m. here on 88.9 FM, where we take a look at Billy May and his orchestra. Now, I'm going to be announcing a special spring break show during that program, so stay tuned. Good night.